Hello everybody and how are you doing? My name is Robot Agent and today I would like to talk about a very interesting game that actually came out this year that you probably might have heard of, and if not, well, I don't really know what kind of rock you live under, but it's actually a pretty fairly big deal, so you should probably look into it, especially if you're a gamer. This game is called Meccha Chameleon and it's honestly incredible. I actually found out about this game when I was just browsing Instagram and there were just some people playing it, and I also saw it on my YouTube homepage. So I actually have a website that tells you how many sales a game has made and also roughly how much money it made. And literally 2 weeks after the game came out, I saw like $23 million. And I was like, wow, this website must be completely broken because I don't see how it could have possibly made that much money. But rest assured, no, it really did make that much money. And I was completely shocked. How is it possible that it made that much money? Were the guys just lucky, or did they do something incredible? And that is actually what I'm trying to get into this video, where I want to analyze that this game had almost nothing to do with luck whatsoever. If you never played the game, it's actually really simple. It's like an elevator pitch. I can explain to you the whole game in like less than a minute. You have prop hunt, but instead of you disguising yourself as a model in the map, like let's say furniture, you are a white figure and you can paint yourself with the surrounding environment. And that's it. So just camouflage yourself into the surrounding environment. You can also choose a random pose that you think might help you a little bit more to disguise yourself. And then there's the other team, which is called Hunters. They have one shitty shotgun from what I have seen, and they need to find you until the time runs out and shoot you. And that's it. That's literally the whole game. And the game made $50 million in like a month or so. Now, how is any of this possible? Well, you see, I actually am an indie game dev, and I even studied game design in college. I even have a bachelor's degree now. And from my personal experience making indie games and working with other indie game developers, and also working in the Unreal Engine, which was also used to make Meccha Chameleon, I can safely assure you that this game has basically nothing to do with luck whatsoever. Let me explain. There's quite a few people who think that this game has everything to do with luck. The most notable example would be Jason Schreier, who is a game journalist. And when I was watching his video, I can kind of see where he's coming from, and I do agree with some points. It really does show that this guy is not a game developer. Okay, he's a journalist, which, you know, you might know something about game development, but you will always know more if you actually make the games themselves. And of course, you know, this is not to throw any shade, you know, in his direction. Not everybody can be a game developer. And I certainly don't think you have to be one in order for you to know exactly what you're talking about. But he is a little bit off. This game really has almost nothing to do with luck whatsoever. And in my opinion, the reason why is because if you really think about it, this game is like if all those hustle bros that you might have seen on Instagram Reels and maybe YouTube Shorts, if they made a game, minus the vibe coding, you know, where AI makes code for you. They have done literally everything that the developers of this game have done everything that a influencer would tell you when it comes to making generational wealth. They made a minimal viable product, meaning something that you can get together as fast as possible, and with minimum amount of features as possible. It took them 2 months to make the game. They have made previous games as well, so they recycled their assets from those games. So theoretically, if this would have been their first game ever made, it maybe would have taken 5 months to make it, but yeah, they also reused other assets. That's also something that these, you know, influencers say, that you should not start from scratch because, you know, why? If you have other resources that you can use, then absolutely use them. And they didn't make the game perfect. The game is lacking quite a lot of features, it's very bare bones, and that's completely fine. Make it first, and then make it perfect. They've done all of these things, and generational wealth. Now I'm not necessarily sure where else you could apply this, because let's be honest, it's not a real product, it's software, so you can infinitely duplicate it. It's not food, it won't expire or anything like that. So it definitely is different from like running your own restaurant or something, but in theory, they did apply all these things that you would have seen from all these hustle bro influencers, and it worked. They made a lot of money. Now, why do I think this has nothing to do with luck? Okay, listen. As somebody who worked with indie game devs, I can reassure you that if it would have been the year 2025, if I wanted to pitch this game to other game developers that I know, whether it be people online that I would have met through like game jams or something like that, or people that I would have met when I was making Team Fortress 2 items, I even have 2 self-mades in the game, or whether it be with the people that I went to school with, went to college with. If I would have pitched this idea to any of them in 2025 and nobody would have known what this game could have been, every single one of them would have laughed at me. None of them would have wanted to work with me on this game because it would have been too simple, it would have been too bare bones. A lot of them would have looked at me skeptically because, it would be made in the Unreal Engine. And of course, if it's multiplayer, then that's friend slop. We don't need another Lethal Company. We don't need another Among Us. So yeah, I would have either not made this game with other people, or I would have maybe made it with like one person, and that's it. So either I would have been a solo dev, or we would have been 2 people, and that's it. Nobody else would have ever been interested in making this game. And I'm pretty sure that there are some people watching this right now and they would have been like, oh no, I would have definitely made this game with you. Well, yeah, you're saying this now because this game really is a reality and it is successful. So it's easy for you to say it now that you would have worked on a game like this in 2025. But, I doubt it. Let's be completely honest. I really doubt it. So in terms of that, I really don't think you have any competition. I mean, if you're not working on the next Undertale, okay? If you're not working on the next Elder Scrolls game or something like that, if you're not making the 5th million game that's actually just an allegory for depression, indie game devs don't want to work with you, okay? Especially if it's not like retro, 5th generation console gaming like PlayStation 1 or Nintendo 64, where you have like vertex snapping or something like that. Like, nobody would have wanted to make a game that looks like this, with, the lumen shading and nanite and whatever. Nobody would have ever wanted to make like this. It would have had to be made in Unity, which would have been way more difficult to make because Unity uses C#, whereas Unreal Engine uses visual programming, blueprints, and that actually would have made it way faster for you to make this game. Now, I'm pretty sure that since the game is multiplayer, they probably use some C++, but let's be honest, other than the multiplayer components, I think most of the game was definitely made with blueprints. The game doesn't look that hard to make. Even the painting mechanic, I tried to look it up on the internet, and I found a tutorial that makes it super easy for you to paint the environment. You just simply copy this tutorial, you change the code, the logic of it a little bit to your own desires, and boom, you can recreate Meccha Chameleon. So yeah, and of course don't forget, people wouldn't want to have a game like this on their portfolio. They would be ashamed, they would think it's not good enough. So there's actually a lot of reasons why a lot of people wouldn't want to work with you on this game, or why if you were to give this idea to somebody else, nobody would have stolen this idea. People would be just too cocky, they would be too condescending, thinking that they're the next Toby Fox, they're the next Notch, they're the next Scott Cawthon, and they would have never looked at a game like this, even if it would have made them a millionaire. So in terms of competition, no, I really don't think at all that you would have had any competition if you would have made a game like this at all. In terms of marketing, the game had no marketing whatsoever. It's just simply influencers playing the game. I mean, it's a multiplayer game. We all know that multiplayer games do very well with influencers, with streamers, with VTubers, whatever. So why not make it? And the game, even though it was made by Japanese people, it's mostly written in the English language, even though the spelling could have been a little bit better. But that's just another thing. I don't know why, but the average Japanese person is completely allergic to English. So even when it comes to Japan, these people had no competition in Japan. This would have been like a region-locked game that would have been in Japanese only, and other than a few Japanese people, nobody would have played this outside of Japan, and the game definitely wouldn't have made millions of dollars in less than a month. Okay, so even in Japan, these developers had zero competition. So basically, yeah, to summarize this video, I can absolutely tell you that this game's success has, in my honest opinion, nothing to do with luck. Not to mention the fact that this isn't even their first game. Like I mentioned, they made other games and that's where they reused the assets. This is like their 5th game. If it would have been their first game, then yeah, I would say it definitely had something to do with luck. But since this is like their 5th game on Steam, they already had some traction, they already had some fan base. No, this game has nothing to do with luck. Nobody would have made a game like this. Nobody would have made it in the Unreal Engine, even though it would have been faster because people just glaze Unity way too much, and Godot sometimes as well. And yeah, like nobody wants to make a multiplayer game because it would be called friend slop. And when it comes to these Lumen aesthetics, yeah, everybody would have made it another Generation 5 console game that looks like it was made for PlayStation 1. So maybe it would have also had a much smaller appeal to a lot of people as well, instead of being, you know, such a broad appeal with, you know, realistic graphics. So maybe even less people would have played it. And yeah, if it would have been made in Japan by any other developers, it would have been Japan only, Japanese only. So only Japanese people would have played it, nobody else would be playing it, especially if the Japanese developers would decide to make it region-locked. I mean, just take a look at, for example, Zun, the guy who made Toho. He completely doesn't want to translate some of his games, so good luck playing them in English. So these people really had no competition, in my opinion. The only luck aspect, to me, is that the fact that these people exist. That's the luck aspect, that people like this actually exist, that they made a game like this. But when it comes to the game itself, so not the developers, but the game itself being successful, luck had nothing to do with it. The competition was just non-existent. And honestly, if you're watching this, in my opinion, if you're making any game that's even remotely similar like this, rest be assured, I don't really think you have any competition. People just don't make games like this. People have too much pride. People scoff at any idea if it's not the next FNAF, if it's not the next Minecraft. Nobody wants to make something that you can get together in 5 months and make just something, you know, fun that people can just, you know, play around with. People need to make the next Citizen Kane of a game development that will take 5 or 6 years to make, only for it, you know, 5 to 6 years later, be played by maybe 2,000 people, and that's about it. Nobody wants to make Meccha Chameleon. So don't worry, you don't have any competition, and if you make something like this and you genuinely lock in for the few months that it would take to make the game, and you're not an idiot, you know, you market it well, you know, maybe post something on social media, definitely post it on in English, I really do think that you have really big chances of making it big. Maybe not millions of dollars big, but hey, if I were to make an indie game and I would be making with it, let's say $10,000 a month, I would be pretty happy with that. Even if I had to share it with like 1 or 2 people, $10,000 a month passive income, even before the taxes and even before the Steam cut, that's pretty good. You know, nothing to sneeze at. So don't worry. Just give it your best. Don't listen to the haters. Don't listen to the naysayers. And maybe you too can be the next big epic game developer. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say. I hope you agree with my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments. And yeah, I want to wish you all a good day. Take care.